Well, boys, we have a champion in the Premier League after 37 weeks, 37 matches played for most of these teams. We finally have a champion. You guys should keep listening because we'll break it down for you tonight. This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League from three friends who support different clubs. My name is James. I support Arsenal. With me tonight on the bottom, that's Sean. He supports Tottenham Hotspurs. And across from me, that's Brad. He supports Chelsea. Gentlemen, how we doing? How's it going?
Fine. Waiting.
Are you waiting for anything in particular, Brad?
Yeah, next season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's waiting
know,
for another $400 million offseason is what he's waiting for.
That awesome.
Yeah, let's do it.
Victor awesome.
400 million in sales. But we know, Sean, we know it wasn't Arsenal because he would have led with that.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, loyal listeners of the podcast will know that it won't have been Arsenal. But I still contend that I would have rather have had Arsenal season than, I don't know, say Chelsea's. But I mean, I guess they did have the same season, but
still didn't get a trophy. Same trophies.
True. that's 10 out of 10, Brad.
Thank you. A hot take.
If you guys are
cold
new,
take.
That is a frozen take. If you guys are new, just stumbled across us, the algorithm recommended us to you. Hit that subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell. If you're on one of the podcast sites, definitely hit it with a follow. Leave a 5-star review if your platform so allows, and Brad will read those Apple Podcast 5-star reviews off when he remembers to look at them before the podcast starts. While he furiously types at the background right now. But do all those things that normal internet people ask you to do, and we would be very appreciative of those things.
Tottenham got a trophy this year.
Oh yeah, which one? Tell me.
U18 Premier League.
You guys also got the most greenish club
and the greenest club in the Premier League too. We got 2 trophies this year.
Hey Brad, do you want to claim any?
Did your U21s also go down? Get relegated?
That's inconsequential to this argument.
Okay.
Brad, do you want to claim any Chelsea women's victories? Real quick, just like
we did win the FA Cup.
Yeah. Okay.
And we should be winning the league. I think it's not quite confirmed, but we are first in the league with like 2 points over United. So if we get a result and they don't score like 4 goals, we're in there like somewhere.
Yeah. It is between you guys.
Not a good colloquialism for what we're talking about.
Was not. And I realized as I said it.
What, not
but I rolled with it.
In there like swimwear is not good?
No, there was plenty other colloquialisms.
Different things I could have said.
Yeah.
That we would have got that. We got that dub. I took that L.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, you boys we led with it. Let's quickly pull up the league table, get that out of the way, because as you guys can see, if you're on YouTube, if you're not on one of the video platforms, you can pause it and take a look at or pull up the league table. But as you can see, in first position, cannot be overtaken, is first place Manchester City. They have they officially won the league when Arsenal lost against Forest this weekend on Saturday. So City became champion without even playing the game, though they did turn around and win their game on Sunday. But City are on 88 points. Second place Arsenal's max before the weekend would have been 87, so they would have won the league anyhow. Second place is Arsenal. No one can catch Arsenal. Arsenal will finish in second. In third position is United. They have guaranteed themselves a top 4 finish, whether that's
Newcastle United. Joel feels the United moniker is confusing. He doesn't care for it, so
I said
solidarity with him. We'll say Newcastle. You said United.
Didn't I say Newcastle United?
No, you just said United.
Okay, well, Newcastle United.
We tried to make that a thing, although it's probably been 80 years of not a thing.
Yo, I want to rewind this and listen to it because I could have sworn I said Newcastle United. Anyway,
that's okay.
Anyway, Newcastle United have guaranteed themselves a top 4 position. Whether that's third or fourth is yet to be determined yet. Manchester United are in fourth presently. They could fall out to Liverpool, who are in fifth. Brighton is in sixth. Big ups to Brighton, right? They guaranteed themselves European football upcoming. Villa seventh. Tottenham are in eighth. They could sneak into seventh if they get past Villa. Brentford, Fulham, that rounds out our top 10. Crystal Palace is up above Chelsea in 11th, who are in 12th. Wolves, West Ham, Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest. Those are the teams that are safe. In the relegation scrum at this point is Everton, Leicester City, and Leeds United. Southampton, of course, have already been relegated. So two of those three teams will be joining Southampton in the championship next year. So some things to keep our eyes out on as we go into match week 38. Should we unpack that a little bit, that relegation situation?
Let's hop in there. I think that's the best spot to start because that's the most interesting thing here.
Yeah.
With the weekend, if Everton wins, they're safe.
True.
And there's that's the easiest way for them to be safe.
Context: they host Bournemouth at home.
If everybody loses, Everton are safe. As long as they do what everybody else does, Everton is safe. Leeds needs to win, and Everton needs to lose, and Everton needs to lose. Yeah, and Leicester needs to lose. Like Leeds and Leicester. Leeds is the most likely to go down.
I mean,
so you're telling me Spurs played the most desperate team out of this three on the road.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. All right.
In two episodes.
To be fair, either both Leicester and Leeds are hoping that Everton lose. Right, but then both of them are hoping that also the other one also loses, so Leicester or Leeds. So if you're Leeds, you're hoping Leicester, and we're hoping Leicester drops points, lose, draw, it doesn't matter, and then Everton lose. They need Everton to lose, and Leeds need to win. Same thing is said for Leicester, because both Leicester and Leeds are on 31 points, and Everton are on 33. Now, goal difference wise, Leicester have the best at -18, then Everton at -24, and Leeds are at -27. But goal difference won't come into play here unless Leicester and Leeds both win their game and Everton have lost. So
no, because if they both win and Everton draw, then Leicester.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's 2 points. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that would be super spicy. So let's see that. I hope that happens.
Everton draws and Leicester wins. Leicester goes through because then they're going to be even less of a goal differential negative. Yeah,
Are we certain that the tiebreakers isn't head to head now? For some reason I thought that the Premier League moved to head to head.
It's goal differential. That's how they sort the table.
I'm double checking this real quick.
Well, not that this isn't great content, but they sort the table by goal differential when you're a level on points. So I would imagine that that's how it is. Not to say I'm a Premier League expert or anything, but
it is goal difference.
Correctly predicted that the bottom of the table would be spicier than the top. Although the Liverpool did make it interesting. Heading back up the table, Liverpool made this area of the table a little bit spicier than it needed to be.
Do you think that Liverpool made it more spicy, or Manchester United made it more spicy? I think both are true, because Manchester United seems like they've played their way into this position.
You know the meme of Schwarzenegger and his I forget what was that, Alien or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Liverpool and United. And then also another hand from Unai Emery and another hand from Daniel Levy of just making this just a cluster F just through this like 4 through 8.
Don't forget De Zerbi.
Because Brighton's been the consistent one. They're the only ones that have been consistently churning out results. Liverpool turned it on, Villa turned it on, and Tottenham, the bottom fell out. Brighton's the only one that was like, we've been 6th the whole year, bruh.
Yeah, I mean, Brighton have been consistent. Liverpool have been consistent over the last 8 weeks or so.
Yeah.
They were like 7 wins and a draw over their last 8 games. Like they've had a phenomenal end to the season, which has allowed them to kind of be in this position, to approach this position. But the thing I would say about that is United have 2 games left. They have Chelsea on Thursday, which we'll mention here before we get out of here. And then on the weekend, they have Fulham at home. Liverpool, of course, play Southampton, so that's obviously a win for Liverpool. But Liverpool currently sit 3 points behind United. So if United pick up a draw against either Chelsea or Fulham, then they'll be fine. They'll be safe, and Liverpool can't catch them. Yeah, United's magic number is 1 at this point.
Jimmy, are you a Chelsea fan on Thursday? It is in the comments. I want to know.
I mean, I think
if you're cheering for the Blues on Thursday,
I think every Liverpool supporter is rooting for Chelsea against Manchester United. I mean, for chaos reasons, I'm rooting for Chelsea. Chelsea have nothing to play for, and I would be very happy if Manchester United fell out of the top 4 for Liverpool. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think I'm on that board. I'm on that board for Liverpool over United in the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, how could any sane watcher of English football prefer United over Liverpool? And like, assuming you as a neutral, as a non-United or non-Liverpool supporter, like
right, as a neutral, yeah.
As a neutral,
I think you're right.
Well,
Sean, you look like you're hesitating here.
I mean, also, well, you guys are just kind of dancing around, but omitting the fact that Liverpool United are one of the biggest rivalries in the history of the sport. Like they Liverpool fans are going to be rooting for you whether this was the last week of the season,
true, yeah,
or it was August. They don't care. They just want to see United lose.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point to bring up.
Hey James,
what's up, man?
Did you make any good bets this weekend?
I made a it's a pretty average number of bets for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any winners?
Can't say I had a single win. I also didn't lose. So.
Okay. That's good. My bet lost. But
what was your bet, Brad?
My bet was that Chelsea would get some points off City. That was the out there.
Did you actually did you legitimately put money? Okay, I was about to say.
No,
do we need to redact this portion of the podcast so that the chief information officer doesn't hear it, and then Brad's no longer
allowed on
because he's dead
because my internet connection got pulled. No, but Brentford without Ivan Toney.
Oh,
go to Spurs.
I get it now.
And let the Spurs and let Spurs be Spurs.
Yeah, like this was. I'm not even entirely sure it was a shocking result per se.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's shocking because Ivan Toney wasn't a part of it.
Well, hold on. Let me back you up because I think if I remember correctly, which I do, if you were to check the tapes from January or February, whenever these allegations came out against Toney, I think I said that Brentford would be. They would be okay without Toney, and that Brentford does not revolve around Ivan Toney. So I'm not shocked that they got a result against Spurs. I guess I'm more shocked in the way that Spurs capitulated to a degree.
Rolled over.
Yeah, like Harry Kane had a lovely free kick, scored a lovely free kick.
Awesome goal.
And at home in the final game of the season, to not protect that against a team that's not playing for anything, you are playing for something. Like you're fighting to get into the Europa League, and to just it seemed like I don't like spineless, gutless. Like it just seemed it seemed like Spurs' entire season. If we're being completely honest, like this was a good microcosm of Spurs this year.
And you start like the first half was like good. Like Spurs deserved something from the first half.
We have done a lot of pooping on Chelsea and a lot of pooping on Tottenham. And Chelsea finishing bottom half is not good. But
True.
Tottenham having an awful, absolutely dreadful season, and we finish 8th. I'll take that. Like, if it is an absolute abomination where I am completely depleted and feel awful about where we finished, and it's only 8th, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'm making small victories out of this, but truly, I think you probably felt that, James, when you were in the doldrums, but you were still finishing 8th and 9th. It was awful.
Hold on.
Awful seasons. I'm the one in here making the gambling jokes, and you catching the strays.
Arsenal never finished 9th. Arsenal never finished 9th.
Yeah, just 8th.
Just 8th twice in a row.
But I'm serious, and those were your worst seasons ever.
Yeah.
That's like almost a feather in the cap of like, all right, if that's our worst season ever, we didn't get relegated, we weren't bottom half, like we were just outside of Europe, like, and that's our worst season ever. You can live with that. So I have to take that this awful season with a grain of salt, or actually a grain of sugar, because I need a positive spin on it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, and I think that's a good way to look at it in like strong generalities. Is like, we had a terrible season, but somehow we finished 8th. I think a lot of that is down. I think it's hard to say that I think Conte overperformed with this Spurs team in the first 2/3 of the season, and the first 66% before he got sacked. But because if you ask a lot of people before this season, a lot of people were arguing that Spurs had the best transfer window, that they were best positioned to really make a run at City of all of the teams that were challenging last year, or not really challenging. Spurs did the best to improve over the summer, and they had the best manager, and that they were the best positioned to really push on and challenge.
It's the
City.
Expectation that makes it feel so bad.
Yeah, precisely.
It's not that we had an awful season on paper, but removing context in a vacuum. But, if you remove all context and put it in a vacuum, it wasn't the most awful season of all time. It just is because of the expectations and what we expect to be as a fan base. We expect to be in the top 4. That is a minimum.
I kind of wonder, with all of this money that's coming into the Premier League, since over the last 30 years, we've seen such an influx of money into the Premier League that, like, there are going to be regular situations where a big club, put some quotations
big
on.
7, big 6.
Like, obviously if there's a big 6, then two of those teams are already missing out on the Champions League anyway, right? So like,
for next year only, because the next year it changes. I think 5 teams.
Well, no, England will still get 4. England will still get 4 bids, but then it's like the highest coefficient that's outside, right? So of the teams that don't qualify, it's the highest teams with the teams with the highest European coefficients will be brought in. But still, like, even still, my point still stands. Newcastle is new money. There's talk about, that guy, the Qatari guy, if he can't buy United. I saw rumored, like you guys mentioned, or you guys sent me tweets that they might buy Spurs. They could buy West Ham, apparently. So like the Qataris are sniffing around in English team. Newcastle have new money. Brighton, maybe Brighton is overperforming. I'm not sure, but like they've got a good thing going for them right now. Aston Villa have a good thing going for them right now. So like next year, we could rock up to August next year and be looking at 8 legitimate teams who think that, like, who going into the season feel like they have aspirations for European football. And so at a baseline, one of those teams is already feeling upset that they're not going to be there, and then 4 of those teams are upset that they're not going to be in the Champions League. You know what I mean? So like there's trickle down effects here.
It's just over the last 20 years, or 25 years of recent memory of the Premier League, you've gone from realistically, there's 2 or 3 teams that could win the title. Yeah. And if you were a fan of that team and you didn't win the title, you were disappointed. And then that expectation changed when there was a lot of money in the Champions League. All right, well, if we don't win the title, we at least need to finish in the top 4.
Yeah.
And then somewhere in the teens, that changed, and now there's 5 or 6 teams. It's the big 6. Now 2 of them don't make it.
Yeah.
Well, now the minimum expectation is 6. Like if you don't finish in the top 6, you're screwing yourself.
Yeah.
As if you're one of those teams. Now it's grown to 8. You're right. Like it's Villa, it's West Ham, it's Brighton, it's somebody knocking on the. I mean, it's been Leicester, and unfortunately they're about to go down. Weren't they in the Europa last year?
Well,
last year,
yeah,
the year before, but like they were in
ago.
European football, and not Conference League. They were in Europa.
Yeah.
Last year too. Like so. Like there's people knocking at the door, and when you're Liverpool, and when Glazers have United is just a money machine. They just make money, and they can spend so much because they have so much income that they don't have to worry about FFP. But like when you're Liverpool and when you're Tottenham, you really got to look in the mirror, and when you're Arsenal, you really got to look in the mirror and be like, all right, are we going to change our business model to keep up with the times?
Yeah.
Or like, you really got some decisions to make of how are we going to combat this?
Well, like if you go back, if you turn the clocks back to 2000, there was one infinite money club, and it wasn't even like infinite money, but it was Manchester United. And then in 2002 and 2003, there was 2 in Manchester United and Chelsea. And then in 2008, there was a 3rd in City. And now there's Newcastle who have infinite money. And so like, and I'm not. Newcastle fans, don't hear me wrong. You guys haven't abused that yet, but you will down the road over the next 5 to 10 years. Newcastle will abuse the infinite money that they have in the same way that Manchester City did, because the expectations will change, and the need to meet those expectations will become apparent, and you'll have to spend the money to get there. And so the teams that don't have infinite money, the Arsenals, the Tottenhams, the Liverpools. Will they either sell out to people who have infinite money? Will they just kind of fall back? Like that's going to be the real question going into it. And say the Qataris buy West Ham. that's another state-run club, that infinite money. There's a snowball starting to form here, and there are going to be seasons, regular seasons, where perennial, traditional, old school big clubs in England are going to feel left out. Now, this is I do have to point out the absurdity of this conversation from 3 people who support 3 of those clubs, decrying the fact that there is, all of that money out
infinite
there.
Money,
right?
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of it's obviously self-serving, but those are going to be questions and things that we have to deal with in the long run. But big ups to Brighton for finishing in the Europa, either Europa or Conference League, depending on the end there. They got a 3-1 victory against Southampton at the weekend, and that confirmed their position in at least the top 7. Now they finish, if they get 1 point over the next two matches, I believe they will confirm that they finish in 6th. They have Aston Villa, Aston Villa are knocking on their door. They play each other on the final match week on Sunday. So like that could be interesting. Brighton have City on Thursday, or on Wednesday, excuse me. So you guys are getting this, and then later this afternoon you got Brighton City. If Brighton lose to City, that will make a very, very interesting final match between Aston Villa and Brighton. That will probably be the match that would, I assume, be the match to watch if you could only watch one. But we'll have to see what happens. Of course, I say that, and I'm sure Brighton's going to beat City or something like that, and it won't matter anymore. But that's really, really big for Brighton. In the same way that you said, Brad, it's big for Newcastle that they're finishing in the top 4.
Champions League in their first year. I think we all sat here.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
It was like, no, 6 years maybe.
I think Sean was. I think Sean was the one that was thought it would happen the most, the fastest.
Under 5.
Yeah, Sean had under 5. I think I had, but
you had like 4 or 5 years, Sean. Though, like there's still way ahead of schedule.
I don't remember. I don't remember the conversation specifically, but I thought that there was 2 levels of it, like when they would be challenging for Europe and when they would be challenging for the title.
Yes.
But either way, I'm wrong.
Title
either way.
Under 5.
I still think that's a bridge too far, but I'm probably going to be proven wrong there too. So,
they drew 13 games. You don't think they can? 13 draws. You don't think they can be 1 or 2 players better in this offseason to be half of that better? let's say that takes them down to 6 draws. That's 7 times 2 is 14 more points. That's 84. They're finishing second.
Well, the thing about that is for, I think you also have to assume that if you start converting some of those draws to wins, you're also going to convert some draws to losses. You know what I mean? Where they would have drawn a game, they were going for it, they end up losing it. I think that's something that you.
Sure.
But I take your point, Sean. Is that like, like 1 or 2 more players, are they significantly reducing the number of those draws? And you're probably right.
And Chelsea and Tottenham aren't going to be this bad next year.
Liverpool as well. Like Liverpool had a very bad, a historically bad season.
Those 3 teams, our 2 teams and Liverpool, are not going to be this bad next year.
Our 3 teams, and I know we're getting over on time, but our 3 teams, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, need an off season, man. Like we need like a month or 2 off. Like all 3 of our teams are just riddled with international players who have just been going in Euro and World Cup and like all 3 of our teams. Almost everybody in the starting lineup plays on an international team somewhere.
Yeah, that's true of all of the big teams in all the top divisions.
Yeah, that's true. But when you play at City and you have 22 players,
yes, of course, point taken.
So it's different. But Arsenal suffered from the same thing, but overcame. So, we're just tired. Give us a break, man.
I could make an argument that final international break of the season, the one like. We came back from that international break in the end of February, early March, just super flat, and like we could never turn it back on, and like that's when we lost the season. So like I'm with you on that. Like, but the problem is this season is going into the last week in May, which traditionally the league would have been over for a week now. This would have been FA Cup weekend coming up, Champions League the next weekend to follow. So. We are already 2 weeks later than we normally are, finishing the Premier League. And on top of that, we got Euro qualifiers in the summer. It's another short summer. But I think finally, at the end of next season, I think we're in. But then next season is Euros and Gold Cups and things like that. So who knows, man? Like it's just never ending.
It's never gonna stop.
Honorable mention. To Nottingham Forest, like big ups to Nottingham Forest. They beat Arsenal. I mean, that's a bad loss for Arsenal in the sense that like Arsenal needed to win it to continue, I get like keeping the pressure on City. But it's a great win for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, it's huge. That was huge. It made it so our relegation situation is 3 teams, not 4.
Yeah, so. They secure their football, and this is, I think, a point you made in our text chain, Sean. You referred to Nottingham Forest as the great gamble of 2022.
The great gamble of 2022. They bought like 22 players for
30 over the course of summer and January.
Yeah,
for like 150 million. They were like, "We getting 150 million to be in the Premier League. We're gonna spend every dollar. We're gonna stay up in here."
Yeah, it's good for them because it would have been dire.
Oh my gosh, I don't know, man. I was just praying for them. I was like, oh my gosh, you have made a gamble that you cannot recover. If they go down, they cannot financially recover. That's Tiger King, right? I am never going to be able to financially recover from that. like I was like, please stay up. And they they flirted with it all year.
Yeah.
But they're staying up. They got it 1 more year.
Quick mention, West Ham beat Leeds 3-1, so West Ham secure their football for next season and keep the pressure all on Leeds.
Leeds did the Spurs thing there. In that they went up 1-0 and then gave up the lead.
Yeah.
I think they've given up the most 1-0 leads this year.
The Spurs thing would be to go down 2 goals and then come
you're
back.
Right. No. Yeah.
Just so everybody's on the same page, today, as you guys are getting this podcast, we mentioned it earlier, you got Brighton hosting Manchester City, and then tomorrow is Thursday. We got Manchester United hosting Chelsea. That's actually, like, it's sad that game is not as important as it could be, at this point in the season. It's important for United in the sense that if they get a point out of it, they confirm that they will be in the Champions League next year. But it's meaningless for Chelsea. So let's pick some scores for it. Before we leave, Sean, what's your score prediction for United Chelsea?
3-0 United.
Ooh, beating that booty.
Wow.
Brad, what do you have?
1-2 Chelsea.
1-2 for Brad. I am taking 0-0. I think it's a snooze fest. So hopefully I'm wrong, but I think it's going to be a snooze fest. Check back next week and we will have results for you when we wrap up the entire Premier League. Come back tomorrow. We've got the news for you. We'll talk European finals. We got some I don't know, like news stories for a couple clubs. And we'll mention F1. And then on Friday, we will have the final preview of Premier League football for Red Card Radio for the 2022-2023 season. So you won't want to miss that. You definitely will not want to miss that. So hit the subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell so you're alerted when these episodes drop. Follow, 5-star, all those good things. Hit us up on Twitter. That guy on the top row, that's at KSBradG. Down below, that's at Whiteheart_Sean. I am at James Tiffany. Collectively, we can be reached at redcard_radio. And check back tomorrow. You won't want to miss it. It will be a good one, and we will be here waiting for you. We don't go anywhere. So until then, have a good one. We will talk to you guys soon.